Welcome back to the show. Please meet Sara Costa, the powerhouse founder of the Costa Group at Vanguard Properties, where she's refined what it means to be a top agent in San Francisco and Marin County. With over $1 billion in sales and more than 30 years of combined experience, Sara isn't just in real estate. She's transforming lives through every transaction, and I can attest to that. Aww. She said, what sets Sara apart? It's simple: heart, guts, and unstoppable energy. She and her business partner, Frank Costa, have built a team that's as dynamic as they are and dedicated to offering extraordinary service with a personal touch, always. Whether you're buying or selling, Sara doesn't just help you. She partners with you. She listens, she understands, and she's fighting for what's best for you every step of the way. I can attest to that, too.
Thank you.
Her secret sauce, a background in psychology, which makes her an incredible listener and negotiator who truly gets what her clients need. No wonder she's been named one of top 1% of agents in the Bay Area, and she's earned the very prestigious honor of 30 under 30 from the National Association of Realtors, and has been a top producer every year after. And that was a couple of years ago. We'll get to that. When she's not closing $1 million deals, Sara is a proud mom, a former Division I basketball player, and a passionate traveler who loves spending quality time with her family. So, why should you watch this interview? Because Sara is all in. She's committed, she's driven, and she's got a story to tell that will inspire anyone who's looking to achieve greatness in life and in business. So with that, let's dive in, and trust me, you will not regret watching this video. Okay.
Thank you, Paula. What an honor.
Oh my gosh, girl. So wonderful to be here with you.
You too. It's been a long time.
It has been a while since even though we work for the same company, we haven't seen each other pre-pandemic, I think.
That's the thing. Welcome back, baby.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah, we're all coming out of the dark. So it's wonderful
God.
to be here. It
You
really
too.
is. Thank you so
You
much for
too.
doing this. So, I like to start with the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, your career has been a number of years now, 15, I believe.
20.
20. I did read that. And
Paula,
sorry.
please, can I just share
Yeah.
something? Back in the day when we first met in 2010, and you told me how many years you had been doing real estate, which at that point was
10. Oh boy.
a long time. I was like thinking in my 20-something-year-old heart, oh God, I hope that's not me. That's not going to be me. And now here I am, right there with you.
Oh yeah, that's
And
funny.
so thankful for your mentorship and your guidance, and just you're such an amazing role model. And so I just hear your voice in my head probably once a week.
Wow.
With things that wisdom and gems that you shared with me and helped me through. And so I'm tremendously grateful.
Well, thank you so much, Sara. Gosh, I remember I always like to share the story, which, when I first met you, the moment I met you, I was like, that woman is on fire and she is going places. And you were fairly new at the time, and you were like, how do I get there? And I was like, you don't need help, but we helped you, and you just became a rock star ever since.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I wonder, what makes you stand out like that? What do you think it is that made you stand out?
God. There's really no secret to it. You saw I was working 80 to 100 hour work weeks, like literally sleeping 6 hours, up at 6 in the morning, working until midnight. And I'm not joking. And I know you know. Right. And so I'd come into your office and be like, Paula, what else should I add to my 100 thing to do list?
I remember.
I worked my butt off.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say, and I've heard people have said this about me behind my back, oh, well, but she grew up in the Silicon Valley, so she's so connected. I know a lot of people who grew up in the Silicon Valley that are not connected and are not having a successful career. So,
well, and that's not where your business came from.
No,
I don't think you were working in San Francisco.
Well, yeah, you know what I was doing? Yeah. I had I don't know. I don't think you even know this story. I had a private bartending business where I posted to Craigslist, because that's where one would market that type of business. And I ended up, because I guess this is what I attract. You put out good energy, and good energy comes your way. the third person at Salesforce, the venture capitalists that work on Sand Hill and live on Billionaire's Row. Guess who's my
Nice.
clients now? I used to
Wow.
bartend for them.
Congratulations.
They shouldn't trust me, but I care and I love them and they love me. And so now I get
That's
to...
a wonderful story. I remember that you were an avid poster. So that's 15, well, that's actually 15 years ago. And Facebook was really popular at the time. And
Yeah.
I was an old dog already thinking, really, do I have to post on Facebook? But you were always on there. You built
Yeah.
an enormous business
Yeah.
posting on social media. Tell us about that. 'Cause-
Yeah. So someone I know actually...
and how has
yeah.
it changed?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So someone I know actually wrote a book a long time ago and the title really stuck with me. It actually had to do with online dating, but the title was Putting Your Heart Online.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I decided, a lot of people in real estate are doing all of these really kind of robotic, stiff posts. And I think I'm just going to be myself and I'm going to share about my life. I mean, people didn't do that early, real estate on social
Business
media.
platform.
Yeah. Like people, what are you doing? I'd tell stories. I'd post, just sold 699K because that was a huge sale back then, and I would tell the story about the people and without, sharing any of their confidential information, and how the transaction went down and how I negotiated a better deal for them or whatever. And, things just caught on and suddenly people from, across the country that I haven't talked with in 20 years are referring business to me because I was just putting it out there to people that already knew me and liked me, even if we met at Mel's Diner at 2 a.m. when I was 23 years old, because that's how I was 22 when I started.
I hope that people can feel your energy through this video because it's always been a magnet, I think. It's always been one for me. I've always been attracted to your energy. It's just powerful.
Thank you.
You have a bright light and great energy and you exude and people are attracted to that. I mean, not everyone has their person.
That's
I know
right.
that,
Yep.
There's the quiet people, maybe not so much, and they find the nice quiet person to speak to.
Yep.
I used to be fascinated, how that worked in my early years, that people find their tribe,
That's right.
They all find our tribes.
Yeah, and that's the abundance mentality that you've always taught me as well. Is just there's enough business to go around. There are enough clients and there's enough inventory for everyone at the end of the day. So how about just be yourself and be true to yourself and be kind to even other agents. Yes, they're your competition, but guess what? Well, after a while of being in business, you learn they're your greatest allies.
That's correct. That's
yeah,
correct.
they're the ones that are putting your offer at the top of the stack.
You want them to choose you when
That's
when
right.
there's multiple offers, don't you?
Exactly. And that's where the sales, people think this is a sales job, but that's where the sales part comes in. At the end of the day, we're here to be of service to people in major life transitions, right?
It's the truth. It's a big transition.
Death, marriage, having a baby,
Divorce.
all of the divorce. These are the reasons oftentimes that people are selling and buying homes. And oftentimes they just need us to come into their living room and be with them and listen.
It's the truth. It's like a therapy session.
100%.
Yeah, so bartending is good because it's also like therapy.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Well,
people love to tell their bartenders all kinds of stories. So
Oh, yes, they do.
you had great training. I have no issues.
I did. Well, and also I got my degree, of course, as you mentioned, in psychology. And when I happened upon real estate, I was actually about to apply to get my doctorate in psychology, 22 years old. What do you do? Go achieve more. No.
Well, you're an achiever.
How I'm hardwired. And so anyway, I happened upon real estate through one of the friends that I met through bartending. Introduced me to one of his friends. We go to celebrate his close of escrow on the Embarcadero, just a romantic San Francisco night. And his real estate broker said, "Hey, have you ever thought about real estate?" And within a few months of working with him, I realized, and I thought I was just doing some side hustle work in order to, put myself through school. And I realized, oh my God, wait, I want to get my degree in psychology so I can help people through major life transitions and be there and listen and serve them.
That's great.
I can do this in real estate and I can make probably quite a bit more money, have quite a bit more flexibility. I can say hi to my clients when I see them at the grocery store, which I wouldn't be able to do as a psychologist. So you have to wait for them to come to you. And I was like, let's go. All in.
And you learned shortly after that you can't have the flexibility, but you still had to work 80 to 100 hours.
Yeah, the flexibility comes after those gray hairs and wrinkles
It
and
takes
decades
about
in the
10
bed.
years to get there, I think. I remember the early days when you were asking me about having an assistant.
Oh, yeah.
And before that, even, I want to back up a second, is when you were, so ambitious and so vivacious, and you were like, look at this NAR, these people 30 under 30, I want that. And I said, okay, well, let's get it.
Oh, my goodness.
And remember, now tell me, how did you achieve the 30 under 30 designation nationwide? And how did it impact your business and you in your life?
Yeah, totally.
It's a loaded question, but
It's a loaded question. Well, right now I'm working very hard towards 50 under 50.
Wow.
I'm 42.
Yeah,
No, I'm kidding.
42.
That doesn't
Very
even
long way to go.
exist. But how I got that was, of course, just working my buns off. I mean, first and foremost, I was producing. I was helping. I was moving a lot of real estate, and with the help of my business partner Frank, who's still my business partner 20 years later, which is incredible.
It's a great team.
Yeah, we've been walking this life together for a very long time, and so we were producing, number one. That's an important part of it. We're also in San Francisco, which is one of the most dynamic real estate boom and bust markets in the world. And I was doing a ton of volunteer work, and we were donating a portion of our proceeds from every closing to, at the time, it was a nonprofit that was local called Earn. And I was also involved in YPN, the Young Professionals Network, it was, right, for SFAR. And, I kind of like a young kid doing their resume, or what do you call it? Application for college. I stood out. And I really believe, for anyone who's listening and is interested in going after that designation, I've helped many agents with their applications now. I get paying it forward. You helped me, and now I'm helping younger ones. And
Connie Trump.
Yeah. And some of those, without naming names, the first time they went for it, they were young, 20, 26. They didn't get it. And I said, let's keep going. Okay, let's review what you put out there. And I was like, they would read the story and I'd say, okay, that's lovely. But is that really worthy of going on the front of a newspaper, something exciting that's going to make people buy the newspaper?
Right.
So then one of these people had a really cool story that they didn't even realize should be highlighted. She was a wrestler on her high school boys wrestling team.
Nice.
And I'm like, now that's the ticket right there. Let's lean into that, right? I did the same with my Division I basketball playing too. And, those are skills that are very transferable, very applicable, and people love that.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we all have a great story that could be a freaking movie. And so
this is true.
I've loved helping younger agents come up with that story to share, to then put out there and win 30 under 30. So anyway.
It was so amazing. I remember that day when you got it, and it was the first, of a few that we got at Vanguard Property.
Yep.
We were very fortunate to have 4 recipients get that prestigious honor. But you were the first.
Woohoo.
It's always good to be the first in anything. And you've been just, I've watched your career grow. I remember, we always did one-on-ones annually. And how are you growing? You were hitting like 25 million, pulling your hair out. What do we do next? How do we get an assistant? And then you wanted to mentor, and you had and you built the teams, and you work with people. You're very, very big on relationships. Tell us how that shift happened. You're probably 8 years into the business, or 10 years plus us by that.
Yeah, totally. So from just being myself and my business partner to growing the team and having the mentees and all of that. Oh, it just... Well, you guided me through hiring the assistant, and that was such a gift and so life-changing. I mean, from that, I was able to have the balance enough in my life to get pregnant and have a baby. So I now have an 11-year-old. So thanks to you.
Oh, wow.
You're like my fairy godmother in real estate, I've always said. But let's see. So where were we going with that? Remind me. I lost my train of thought.
We're talking about relationships and building a team.
Oh, yeah. So
everybody wants to talk about a team, and is it beneficial? Is it not?
Totally. It's really like we were just talking about earlier at lunch. It's been an interesting journey of just following the breadcrumbs and being present with what is life showing me to do next, and who are the resources that I have. I actually give my business partner Frank a lot of credit for that, to be like, we've got Paula, we've got James Dudemacher, the founder of Vanguard, these people behind us who we can turn to when we need advice because they've been through it. And so, and then it was like this young agent just got her license and approached us. And then we brought her over to Vanguard. And then she gets 30 under 30. And then, one thing leads to another and then another one. And so it's just been this really intuitively led, just following my heart, I think is the big thing. And really listening now to even my body and like, what does my body need? Oh, it needs rest. Oh, it needs me to delegate more so I'm not running around like a chicken with my head cut off.
Yeah.
I need to
Delegating
be
is a key
grounded.
piece to learn. I remember
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
I remember it for myself, but also I remember your journey on that.
Yep.
Well, let's shift a little bit. Let's talk about, we do work in San Francisco. We're very fortunate. And we do have very expensive real estate to sell. We're very fortunate.
Yes.
Even Marin. I mean, the whole Bay Area. It's high stakes negotiations are happening all the time.
Yep.
And what strategies do you use to make sure that it's a win-win on both sides?
Totally. Oh my, it has to be win-win or no deal. It's just not going to come together.
Can you say that again, please?
Win-win or no deal. Yeah.
I like that because most people don't get that. And when you're pushing for yourself or your client only, it often doesn't work. It has to be a win-win. But
always.
So how do you manage that?
Yes.
Negotiations.
Totally.
Especially multi-million-dollar assets.
Yeah. So two things come to mind. Number one, I had some lovely clients at one point who were like, Sarah, you are the queen of swarm. And I'm like, that doesn't sound good. What does that mean? And they were like, you're so sweet, but so firm. And that makes you really good. They made up the word. They're like, that makes you really good in these negotiations where you can warm up to the listing agent. This is what we need to do, right? I know you wrote the book. I'm preaching to the choir right now, but
it's not how
warm up to the listing agent. And then something that you actually pointed out to me long ago is being really good at writing, not chat GPT querying, but actually writing with your heart. But there's a lot of business and a lot of financials in there with a yes, no, yes sandwich. Something that, because a lot of agents see those $1 million listing shows and think everything's done on the phone.
Too easy.
Yeah. And I like to write a kick-ass cover letter that the listing agent can very easily forward to the seller to convey all the feels and all of the thought processes behind it. I mean, I just had a recent one where we're not just making an offer $400K below the asking price, stuff in the 3 million range because we want to be jerks. This client had a budget due to a life circumstance and he was capped at that. The insurance in California has gotten really crazy, and the insurance policy on that house was going to be $25,000 a year. Very different than what the sellers were paying. That you have to educate, right? Like I'm like educating the listing agent, the sellers, and then ending it with some very sweet sentiments. And the freaking thing got, excuse my potty mouth, accepted. And it's a client that I've known since he first got married and now has gone through these phases of life. And I now see how you can be doing this for decades. I mean, you were just sharing this story with me about one of the first homes you sold in Noe Valley.
Yeah.
You're now selling it again.
First time, 34 years later.
Exactly.
Crazy.
And how old are those sellers? And they're...
we're still young, but it's been a lifetime.
That's right.
And
decades.
we grow up, we watch their children grow, we watch them have grandchildren, and we celebrate life with our clients. It's not a one and done transactional business.
We celebrate life and we also mourn sometimes and other rock.
We do.
Through can be really tough times.
Yeah, you made me. I think of my dear clients who one of them passed away and how difficult it's been for his wife, and I've been with them for 30 years also. It's just
what a gift.
Yeah, they're gifts of life and we're always there for them. Yes, we'll do the transaction and we'll get it done, with integrity.
Yep.
But, it's difficult sometimes. It's true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah,
I love that. Sure. I love that about you, Sarah. You bring out all the emotions that anyone could ever have.
It's on the table.
Yeah. So, So, real estate does have those ups and downs. And what can you share with some of your significant challenges that you faced and how you overcame them? What lessons you
Yes.
learned? Yeah, I like that.
Do we have all day?
No, we don't. We have about 5 more minutes.
I
but
know.
I know,
Totally.
it goes
I'm
fast.
kidding. Yeah. So,
I know you're not. I know you were.
the biggest thing, which I know you witnessed, for me, and I know for a lot of agents, but for me, it was really I faced job burnout at a young age and early in the business.
That's a great point.
Yeah, like to the point that like if I hadn't caught it, like I could cry, like I probably could have died.
Yeah, it was rough. I remember. Yeah.
You work that much, you don't
Burnout.
sleep
It's
enough.
burnout. And you
It's
were
gnarly.
selling so much real estate, going crazy.
Yeah.
It's fun and exciting, and it's hard to say no.
That's right. And so for me, the biggest thing as I've gotten older and gained some life experience and wisdom and learned how to really, I'm like looking in your eyes, getting all that, really take care of oneself
Yeah.
is to also really go with the resonance. What resonates? Like, who do I click with? Are these clients raising red flags in the first couple of emails and calls? No, let's not do that. Let's refer it out. Let's fire the client. I've done that and I don't do it much, but when it happens, it is the world's greatest relief, you know?
Yeah.
So really just making sure, like when I wake up in the morning, is there anything I'm dreading? Because if I am, I probably shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
I should delegate that to somebody whose dream job that is, because I bet there's someone there who wants to do that.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, or wants to work with that client or whatever it is. So I think that has been one of my biggest challenges is just really making sure that I keep my life balanced and really first and foremost take care of myself and my family, have fun.
Yeah.
Make sure I'm enjoying stuff outside of work. I mean, I know it sounds so trite, but this business,
It does.
you can keep going and going. And there's always more to do and more you could be doing and more this and more that. And so, well, my mom told me when I was really young, Sarah, this is a hard business you've chosen.
Yeah.
It's a hard business. And being an entrepreneur, which my parents both were, is not easy. So why don't you choose marketing and activities and day-to-day things and networking that you're excited about?
Yeah.
And don't do the other crap. I was like, well, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So you within your career, you do the fun things. And I mean, I think that's another really, we're going to wrap up, but that's a really wonderful point is that do the things you're good at, do the things that you love,
Yeah.
and let someone else delegate the rest.
That's
because
right.
Frank is probably really good at
Oh.
the things that you don't like doing.
100%. He's listings and comps and selling and going out and doing those showings to sell the listings. And I'm buyers and advising sellers. And, we have our roles and then we'll hire outside consultants for certain things or whatever we need,
Well, it's just been so wonderul to see you again and to
You
spend
too.
this time with you. I know we could go on forever.
We could.
We could, and we have had many long love fests, but I want to thank you for coming in
My
and
pleasure.
sharing with me.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, gosh. Amen. Amen.